Goodness, it works. Hey, it's been a while.
Yes, it has.
Unless you followed us on like
Instagram.
Instagram or Facebook, but we've not really done a whole lot of YouTube lately.
No.
That's my fault. YouTube is a lot of work. Good grief.
I wouldn't say it's anybody's fault, but we sure have been busy, haven't we?
We have, Stephanie. But we want to give everyone an update. So we are 5 months into 2025, and there's a couple of videos we need to do. One is kind of recapping 2024, which was a phenomenal travel year again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
It was.
But we've had some changes since the last time we've spoken with you, particularly on our retirement plan.
Yep.
So we have always described it as this being the ramp up to our go years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your slow go, and then your no go. And I think I'll call the last one the where did he go years. He gone. So
all right.
But I digress again. But as we're ramping up for our go years, if you had spoken to us a year ago, our plan was to move from our home in Illinois to a home we had purchased in Tennessee and be there basically when the temperature is above like 80 degrees, but the rest of the time be traveling.
And honestly, just be nomadic a bit because there are tenants in that house. And so we even considered just leaving it rented and storing our things and just being nomads for a bit and just staying in an Airbnb ourselves when we were stateside. So we've had lots and lots of discussions. And honestly, that's part of the best part of planning for retirement is being able to think about all of the different possibilities and to determine what is it that we want to write as our story.
And the number of conversations that we've had have gone from being somewhat tense at times to one where we welcome a chance to sit down and really talk about what that future looks like and have the conversation about, are there things we want to change? And so, spoiler alert, we have had some changes in how we're looking at our go years.
We have. We sure have. And honestly, it's taking a lot of the guesswork out of whether or not our financial plan is going to work.
Yeah, it's, again, hats off to Stephanie and her financial advisor role, which is setting us up so that as our financial plan can adapt to what becomes important to us. And when opportunities arise, you're able to take advantage of them. And that's what happened with us. Last year, 2 of our daughters had blessed us with grandkids. And that really starts to change, frankly, how much time you want to spend with your kids. And so, we looked at it as an opportunity to do a couple things. One was, while we do have the home in Tennessee, it's not as close as we'd like it to be to one of our daughters.
Right.
So Stephanie,
and honestly, it's not even close to any of our kids.
Yeah.
So it was.
Which was fine.
Until they moved.
Yeah, until they moved. But, particularly with the place in Tennessee that we have now, we have a long-term tenant in there that pays all the expenses for it. So there's no harm in us keeping that as an asset that hopefully will continue to appreciate. At some point, we can sell that, right? But we also found ourselves spending more and more time in Mexico.
Indubitably.
And so we basically, over the past few months of this year, we're now proud owners of a nice place in Mexico now.
We are. Yep, we sure are. 2-bedroom, lock-off penthouse.
So it gives us a place to spend time in the cooler months here in the north part of North America, in the Chicago area.
When he says cooler parts of cooler months, he means just frigid and miserably cold.
Yeah, and it's a place that we can also rent out because it's in Playa del Carmen, so there's a lot of opportunity for us to rent it out
Mm-hmm.
to help balance out the overall cost of maintaining it while we're not there. But this became something that, as we looked at how we were planning out our retirement earlier this year, Stephanie looked and said, "You know what? A place in Mexico is something I'd like to do." And so she took off her wife hat and put on her financial advisor hat and worked the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and it was something that we were able to accomplish. So we've got that box check that says we're comfortable now saying that rather than being nomadic, there are some places that we do want to spend more time. And so even now in our ramp years,
Mm-hmm.
as well as our go years, we have a place in Mexico that will be a place that we'll spend time at, particularly because it allows us to still do a little bit of work, while we're still in our ramp up years, but be outside the U.S.
Yep. And in a very nice climate for us, because
Yes.
we've discovered that we like it just
Nice and
warmer.
crispy.
Yeah, warmer than maybe a lot of people, but yeah, above 80 is fine with us.
Yeah, it's. I was talking with someone at work the other day, um, and I said, "Listen, working and taking a few more years to continue to work is not as much of a hardship when you are able to say, wow, it's 70 degrees, it's 60 degrees in Chicago. Let's leave Friday after work, be in Mexico and work from there for the next week or a couple of weeks, knowing that 501 you're able to walk down to the beach or to go and have more tacos or just hang out in a sunnier climate. And that really becomes even more of an incentive for how you're spending your time in your talent treasure to get to a place where you are actually fully retired.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that that's been key on our journey, is determining where do we want to be, what does it take to get us there, and then we've adjusted our retirement date as well.
We have.
We have extended our work life by about a year in order to accomplish these goals.
And that was an interesting conversation for us because I was like, I am counting down the days.
He was.
And then the opportunity came in twofold. One was the opportunity for the home in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
which was something that we had the cash to pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to then make it the accommodation that we want and to kind of refill that coffer of cash was something that we said it's worth taking that time to do so. But also, as we mentioned earlier, we have the house that's in one part of Tennessee, but we want a house in a separate part, a different part that's closer to our daughter. And so, now, Stephanie's taken off her financial advisor hat and put on her real estate investor hat and is finding us a place there as well. So extending that time that you're still in your ramp years to our full on go retirement years was worthwhile to be able to have these options in place, and really about half the year we will have our homesteads.
Yeah.
And then with both of them being places, the one we have in Tennessee now and the one in Mexico being ones that will bring in some income, that will help to provide a little more income for us when we are in those 3 to 6 months where we're traveling around. So good job.
Yeah. Thanks. So this isn't meant to be financial education because everybody's journey is different.
Sure.
But for us, it makes sense that we would use the rents in order to pay the mortgage and basically have a break even so that it grows in equity. And then upon retirement, we're able to go ahead and realize the equity in the homes that we sell. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of an update on our story right now. As you look back over the past 3 months of everything, well, I guess now at this point 5 months, what would be those 2 or 3 things that you've realized in terms of our financial journey, our retirement planning, that you would say kind of stick out to you in terms of either our conversations or what people should think about?
Sure. So number 1 is really think about your options. And if you're not quite sure what your options are, speak with a professional money manager because that matters. Number two, be open to modifying the plan so that you have a greater chance of success.
Yeah. And I would add to that communication. We literally end up putting time on calendars. We use Monday to kind of manage all the conversations and tasks that are in front of us, because all this planning is going to be things that help us, because there's a lot to think about.
There is.
So
there is, because cash flow in your go years and your ability to manage that really, really matters, because once you hit the no paycheck zone,
they should make that the go years and the no paycheck years.
because once you hit that, if you weren't disciplined before, you won't be disciplined then either, and it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, in fact, even now, we've actually been having our financial meetings, and one of the things that we're adjusting is looking at over the next couple of years how we pare down our discretionary spending, for two reasons. One, getting us back in the mindset of, these are expenses that we'll need to have better control of, in our retirement years, but also kind of rationalizing some of the things that we've spent money on, because you always have an income, a steady paycheck coming in. So it's like, do we need Hulu and Prime Video and Disney and all these other
Netflix,
services?
And
The short answer is no, but taking the effort to actually recognize, maybe I just buy Netflix for 2 or 3 months at a time when I know I'm going to watch it. And knowing that when we're in Mexico or in Tennessee, we don't even watch TV, are these things that we should be kind of, rethinking whether we're making those investments now and starting to have a better sense of what is the actual amount of money we need on a monthly basis when we're in retirement.
Agreed. And I think for us in particular, having those homes as the target goals has really made a big difference.
Yeah, it has. Like I mentioned earlier about when you are still working and you are fortunate to have a place to go to, it kind of inspires you and really gets you incentivized for what you're doing. For us, knowing that we now have these homes to go to, being able to rationalize, okay, if I spend money here, then that's less I can put into the home, or put towards getting the beach chairs that we want
That's right.
in Mexico. So
that's right.
So I guess really the plan right now, little asterisk at the bottom, is spending a few months of the year in Mexico. And we'll have that place that can be kind of a starting point for us spending more time in Central and South America as well. And then we'll have the place in Tennessee that will give us a time with our friends and family here in North America, and being able to do some traveling here as well, particularly in the summer with our kids and grandkids. And that really leaves us the rest of the year for us to then travel around, because we did spend some time at the end of last year in Asia.
Yeah.
So being able to spend more time there, spend more time over in Europe, will be fantastic.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it.
So it's just a little update on where we are. Again, we're super excited to kind of share this with you. We'd love any comments or thoughts on what we've shared today. But the whole idea is just kind of keeping you up to date on what our plan is. We still love to travel. We're still doing a lot of traveling, but we've kind of settled on a couple of places within the world that we will have some time that will be a little more homebound.
I would say anchored.
Anchored. I like that. A little more anchored for part of the year. Yeah. So, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see if it can be a little bit more Johnny on the spot when with our next video.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.